Hey there, this video is going to teach you how you can take Google Voice calls or information and have that sent to an incoming calls app inside of a Podio account. I'm going to walk you through some of the steps. I'm also going to give you some insight into the difference of a Google Voice account versus a CallRail account and how those things come into Podio. So what I've done is I've already made one connection and sent some examples into here, but I'm going to show you a few pieces. So with some of the incoming calls that I've set, you'll see with Google Voice, it did give me the notice. I've been using one of my other test accounts, and it tells me you missed a call. Here's a number, call back. You can go to your account, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But you'll see this looks a little bit different on the missed call than a new voicemail. And unfortunately, on this new voicemail one, the system thinks it recognized that number. So it didn't put quite as much information. I can play the message through this link, which is great, but it doesn't provide quite as good of detail here. Okay. And I'm going to show you why I like the CallRail version better real quick, because every time you get a call from CallRail, it follows a format like this where it'll say who it's from, a number, where, and kind of date it. It will give you the number, name, and tracking number within your CallRail system so that you can easily tag a campaign source. And since it has the same format every time, it's easy to use GlobyFlow to parse out information and tag it below. Google Voice directly doesn't make things quite that easy. It can be done, but that's more complicated than what we're going to get into in this quick video. So what I want to show you here is simply how to connect that if I get calls to this particular Google Voice number, I want it showing up in this particular Podio incoming calls app. And the first step that I'm going to do here is I'm going to get from within Podio the email to app option. And I'm going to just grab the very bottom piece here, and I'm going to take that and use it over in my Gmail account. So there's a few steps that you'll want to set up in Gmail first, because trying to do it straight through Google Voice isn't as simple. You can find ways to do it, but my preferred way is if we just go to our Gmail account, we're going to go to settings. We're going to go to forwarding, and we're going to add a forwarding address. We're going to paste in what we just took from our app in Podio. And it said that to add this, it's going to send a confirmation code, and we need to get that in order to continue, basically. So I'm going to hit OK, and you see it's not an option yet because it hasn't been verified. So I need to go get the confirmation code and verify this. So we're going to jump over here. We're going to refresh our app. The top one here is from the new account that I'm syncing in, and it's giving me this forwarding confirmation. And I'm just going to take the confirmation code, which you can find right here, copy this. I'm going to put in our confirmation code, verify that. Great, that is now an option. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure in our Google Voice settings that the options I want are turned on to email to that related Gmail that I have set up. Okay, so I have it so that any messages will send an email, any calls will send an email, and any voicemails will send an email. If you want to turn off any or all of these, that's up to you. You can play with those settings. But now that I have it going there, I can set up my forwarding from that to another. this just quickly explains why I do it the way I do, because you see that you don't have options here to change where this mail goes to. The newer Google Voice doesn't make that as easy as it used to be, and so it's actually more simple to just let it do its thing, go to that inbox, and then from there we can set some rules. So I've made a call to that number so that it should be sitting here in my inbox. The easiest way to do is just go to a message that you got from your Google Voice, come here and say filter messages like this. This is going to set up a filter for you anytime it comes from that email, which any of your Google Voice messages will. Then we're going to have a filter. I recommend skipping the inbox, even marking it as read, because the whole purpose of what you're doing is you're setting it up so that you can easily manage it from Podio incoming calls app. And if you still have to clear your inbox and manage it over in Google, then you're doubling your work. So I highly recommend skipping the inbox and marking it as read on this end so that you'll just have to manage it in one place over in Podio, but that's up to you. For purposes of our examples today, I'm not going to do that because I want you to be able to see one when it comes in, but in reality, you should do that. Then, if you have labels that go on it, so I have a calls and messages label that I think is valuable, so I can easily pull anything like that up. And lastly, we're going to hit this forward to, and because I already added my incoming calls app as an option in my forwarding messages, I can just select that and then I'm good to go. So I'm going to create this filter, and that is all set, good to go. I'm going to go ahead and make a new call to this number and just show you how it works. So let me go over here. We'll refresh this page. You'll see we currently have 5 items in this app. I'm going to be creating another one. I just wanted you to see that it is something new that comes in when we refresh it in a second. So off my cell phone, I am dialing this test account Google number. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and decline it. I don't actually want to speak with them. And as soon as that does come in here, we'll be able to go over and find it in Podio. So you can see notification came. Remember, we had 5. Just going to click on the app to refresh it. There we go. We have a new missed call from that number. And it gives me the information here. If it had a voicemail that I had left, it would have the link saying you can listen to the voicemail here. Now, some people prefer to have calls or other items go straight into their seller leads app, and other people prefer to have it come into an incoming calls area. The true value of the incoming calls area is if you're using CallRail and you can parse out the specific number it came from and tag a campaign to it. If you're using these Google Voice and it doesn't have those specific campaigns, it's not going to be as easy because, well, you're not having specific phone numbers that people are calling from different sources, so you won't know quite as easily as you do with your CallRail various phone numbers. But I still like having it come into here because even if we were to set up a flow that says every time a new call comes into here, create a new seller lead, over in seller leads, we can use tricks like a quick duplicate checker. I'll show you one here, where we can just have this quick check duplicate. And if we find one, we could then delete the new one and attach that call in a call history field to the existing one. Whereas if it just came as a straight seller lead, we would have to manually grab any links or info we want, paste it in the old one before deleting that new one. So I like having them in that different holding area so that we can make that a little bit easier to break out. That's how I do it. And if you're looking to set up your Google Voice into your incoming calls app, the steps that I went through here are the steps you need to follow of getting your email to app address, adding that to the appropriate Google account, making sure that your Google Voice settings do send messages to that account, and then setting up a filter so that those messages will come in. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know. I'd be happy to help you with this type of thing. And I hope this video has been a good explanation to you on the value and how to get your calls into Podio.